Hello and welcome back. It is Steven from Dedicated Gaming 101. Today I bring you news on the 25th of December, which is Christmas here in Australia, which is anywhere in the world. And the weather was poor, piss poor, like raining. Anyway, back to the news. I bring you Bioshock Infinite and the reversible cover art that was revealed yesterday. The developer of Bioshock Infinite, Irrational Games, held a contest to choose the reversible cover art for the release of Bioshock Infinite. There were 6 covers that were in the draw to vote for. Now, the one that was voted for the highest had 38% of total votes. It was very tight between each different contestant or artwork per se, and not leaving them a lot of room to win at all. Although winning by the majority vote, the cover had been getting some harsh feedback for its design. Now, if you look at it for yourself, you're going to have to look at it and ask yourself, what am I really looking at? It is just terrible. If you look at it, it's a very nice sketchy thing with the semi-monochrome with the red background. But if you look at it closer, you see the city, which is where you are in the game world. And then you look to the right and there's just this massive black thing. Like, all I saw in it was an arm, a leg, and a wing. But I look at it as a whole and I'm like, I can't even figure out what it is. Now, if you like the winning cover, just for the art and how it looks, that's good. But I find it also differs from the overall art style of the game. But if you're trying to look at it in an artistic view, where you try and see what it is, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Now, the next game I have for you is Dark Souls 2. The new director of Dark Souls, Tomohiro Shibuya, he announced that the sequel will be having some new features and that the most important part of it was the new graphics engine they will be using. Now, with this in mind, he said that it's what is needed to capture and expand the franchise to a wider market in the world. The previous director ensured that there will be no problems with Shibuya. As he quoted, "He is far more experienced than me as a developer. The added feature is possibly the dedicated servers for multiplayer, a new location in the same planet, improved exploration of the world, and for newcomers an easier transition while still holding that same difficulty that the game is renowned for." Now, this is my favorite one out of all. Even though Bioshock is a very good franchise, Grand Theft Auto has been the strongest one. Now, Rockstar has released some new screenshots that reveal the gameplay world. The first is nothing special. We see the dog in the car with the guy. Apart from that, you don't really get much of it, but you could be driving with the dog in your car. The one with the people here, you don't see a lot of information that comes off the plot, but they could be people that you meet throughout the game within the plot, but we don't actually get any information from it. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Swimming in Grand Theft Auto franchise has changed since the beginning. In the early games, you couldn't swim. Your character would forget the fundamentals of living and just fall in the water and die, and then float. As Grand Theft Auto developed, you were soon able to swim. Hard to believe it, but since we learned how to swim, they thought it would be fun to add a shark in there just to scare us from swimming again. So, don't swim, you drown. Swim, you don't drown. Now you can swim, but you get eaten by a shark. Can't really win there. Now, if you wanted to avoid those sharks, look, there's a submarine. They've given you a submarine to use. I don't know if there's ever been one before, but now there's an official one, or as the screenshot is. It is the latest in water transportation fashion. Now, why drive a boat when you can glide underwater and see sharks just lurking for you and waiting for you to get out of your submarine? This is a very novelty sort of vehicle, as it's very impractical, as everyone would normally take a boat, get to where they need to, and done. Knowing a submarine, it's actually quite slow in transport speed, so whatever they do is whatever they do. This has to be one of my most favorite screenshots. 3 things to take note of. The first is the obvious jumbo jet in the front. To be able to fly one of those would be a challenge in itself, but the daring players would take that as a challenge and eventually crash it, really. The second is the fighter jet, which we can see that has missiles on it. If you can fully use the fighter jet and its weapons, people playing Grand Theft Auto will have a field day. Getting up the 5 stars, bringing out the helicopters and the SWAT, it'll be fun. The last and most subtle of the image, if you look in the background, there is a blimp or zeppelin, whichever you call it. It is gracefully flying, but if you were to fly it, it'd be really boring. So what do we normally do? Jump out and just parachute down towards the ground. But if you forget one, you just splat. Gone. Now, the last of the 4 games that I've brought you for news is Slender The Arrival. Slender the 8 Pages, which is the first experimental game by Past Productions that was created earlier this year, shook gamers around the world, and now they have teamed up with Blue Isle for a sequel, which is in even more depth than the experimental first game. The sequel follows the same basic rules as the first: collect 8 pages and survive. But the world you roam in is no low-quality fenced-off area anymore. They use the Unreal Engine for its beauty and abuse it as well. They create the beautifully terrifying landscape for you to roam, and to add to the suspense, they put a camcorder overlay on it as well. I can't show you the trailer here, but in the description below is the link to the trailer, so get ready for the horror.